Hello and welcome to another issue of Comic Station. This is issue number 23 for June 5th, 2013. Once again, Scott is not joining us today. He is selfishly going to go see the new Superman movie. Very jealous. But we still have our Comic Station issue to go over, so we have 3 new releases that we're going to go over. No review, but a bunch of information coming out of the Philadelphia Comic Con that's going to wrap up our coverage of that convention. To kick off our new releases for June 5th, 2013, we're going to start with Dark Horse Comics' The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys #1. This is a post-apocalyptic, futuristic wasteland. There's a city, desert, so it's a good mixture of locales and locations as well as colors. I really did enjoy the artwork in this comic in particular. The main story centers around this girl who was originally protected by this group of superheroes known as the Killjoys. This is some years in the future where the Killjoys died protecting the city, and even though they died protecting the city, she survived. So this, you don't know how she survived, so that's a whole mystery. You have why they were protecting her. Some people apparently believe she was a messiah figure, so is she, what powers, if any, does she have, so forth. There's plenty of mystery in here. The only downside to this that I can see so far is that the beginning was a little bit confusing, and honestly I didn't enjoy the radio host too much. He's a stereotypical radio host rhyming every other word and just talking in flim-flam, and I just didn't enjoy that part, but otherwise, really solid story, really interesting. Overall, my impression improved as I read the comic, so once you get over that first hump, you may like it. I definitely think you should, if you're interested, post-apocalyptic futures, mysteries, I think this one has some solid interest here. The next one, probably our big one for this week for the new releases, is, of course, DC Comics' Superman Unchained #1. Of course, Scott's going to go see Superman, but Superman Unchained is following a post-Daily Planet Superman. So if you've been following on the Superman titles, Superman left the Daily Planet. He believes that more personal blogging is the way to go. Lois Lane is still at the Daily Planet. It's a future vision, of course. She's seen with a bunch of floating screens, out of Minority Report kind of look. The artwork is beautiful. A-team on this. Of course, you would figure with a Superman title that it would be. But I actually really enjoyed this comic, not just for the story, but I'm going to get to that. But the artwork and the creative license they took with it, not on the story itself, but the artwork and the way they described it. There is actually in here, there is what I want to call a poster page in here, where you open it up and there is a poster inside, but the poster is actually pages. So you have full giant pages for the artwork, and I thought that was really creative, interesting. It probably, I haven't seen something like that. Probably somebody will call me out and say that something has done it before, but I liked it because it made it really stand out, really big bang, and you knew that they were putting a lot of effort into this title. So going to the story, it was really good, actually. It's solid. At Superman, he did some obviously amazing Superman things, but overall the writing just was really approachable, really nice. And it ended up with a mystery. It opens with something of a mystery. If you pay close attention to the first few pages, you'll see something that doesn't belong. And I really like at the end of this comic, there is an epilogue that ties back into those first pages and really sets home that those pages are really important. So overall, solid start, great start on a new run for Superman. finally, our last comic for the new releases of this week is Bubblegum #1 from Aspen Comics. This is you could sum this up in 5 words. It's a colorful, futuristic cyberpunk aesthetic. It's beautiful, it's colorful, it's futuristic, a lot of hacking. There's cyberpunk in here. One of the characters has a bubble gun, literally shoots bubblegum bullets. The artwork in this is fantastic. The storyline was a little bit here and there, but overall I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. That's probably the best word to describe this comic. Is Bubblegum #1 is really just a fun read. There is a bit of a tried but true plot twist at the end. It's been done before, but I'm looking forward to seeing how they do it, mainly because there is these little twists within the characters that make it interesting. Again, I can't say it enough, the artwork is great. But overall, it was fun. I'm not going to say that you're going to be left thinking about anything. You're not going to be left probably a huge impression. But while you read it, it's one you can easily sit down and read through in one sitting, and you don't even know the time passed by. I do also want to mention that this is part of Aspen's 10 for 10, so it is a $1 comic. So of course, recommend picking it up. You can't go wrong with $1 comic, and I think it's pretty good for that. All right, up next, we're going to actually close out, instead of with the review and obviously Scott's recommendation, we're going to close out with some of the final information from the Philadelphia Comic-Con. In lieu of our review section this week, we're actually going to wrap up our Philadelphia Comic-Con 2013 coverage. I want to mention that earlier yesterday, on Tuesday, 2 videos and articles accompanying went up on frontwardsgamer.com, as well as the YouTube pages. And the first one being the interview with Pat Shan from Zenescope. He's the writer of a number of Zenescope titles, including Robin Hood, the very popular title from there. And he is the, I want to say, lead writer, even though that's technically not his title, of the Unleashed event. He writes the titular title Unleashed, as well as a number of the tie-in titles, like the Vampires and some of the others, Hunters and so forth. So it's a really nice interview. We also even get a little hint of what issues maybe to pay special close attention to, and we also learn how these Unleashed events will tie into the whole Grimm fairy tale universe. He also ends with letting people know, as I mentioned before on an honorable mention, of the Family Pets is the digital offering from Zenescope. They're starting to do more family-friendly digital offerings, and Family Pets was one of his, and it's really nice if you have younger readers or all ages. The second video was with the owner, Kim Hutchinson from Big Dog Inc., and we covered the Wicked West, the Wizard of Oz, the Wicked West, as well as a few others. I read Critter, and I picked up while I was there Penny for the Soul, and I really enjoy their artwork, and I love their philosophy. You should really check this out as far as an independent publisher that's doing it right. Finally, the last video for Philadelphia Comic-Con will actually be airing later today, around noon on Wednesday. This is an interview with Hollaback organization. This is the Philly group. They created a comic book to go with their Hollaback organization, which is a group against street harassment. So catcalling, whistling, names, so forth. And I thought of this was an interesting take on how comic books, besides being entertainment, can be educational. And it's interesting that they're trying to use this as educational material going into schools and so forth. So again, interesting angle on that one. So check it out. I like the artwork in that comic as well. All right, next week we'll get hopefully back to our regular programming and format, and look forward to us as with every week here on Comic Station. We will see you next week.